Hello, I'm Michael Beachley, and this is Live and Local. And I'd like to play a piece for you today from Franz Liszt. But before I do so, I have a few introductory remarks that I'd like for you to consider, just for fun, things that I have experienced over time, and I'll bring you into that experience as well. You remember a particular tune all of us learned how to play when we were young. It is by Johann Sebastian Bach, and it is the Minuet in G, and it goes pretty much like this. And so on and so forth. You get the idea. Beautiful piece, 300 years old almost. Now, what's interesting about that is that when I was in high school, actually a little bit later than high school, I heard the same song, but it was not quite the same as when I played it when I was a little guy. And it became known as the Lover's Concerto. And it was recorded by the Toys in Motown motif. Now, that was 1967, but actually that particular rendition was first composed in 1940s, but it's the same tune. The difference is that Bach composed in 3/4 time, 3/4 time, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But the later rendition is in 4/4 time, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and you'll recognize it. It goes like this. Okay? The point is that people have been stealing music from other people for ages upon ages. And that particular rendition in 4/4 time, sometimes called the Lover's Concerto, was actually recorded more than 25 times in the 20th century. Amazing. So if you think about it mathematically, there's only so many configurations and iterations and permutations and combinations of musical tones before you start to repeat yourself. And as a matter of fact, if you look at any genre of music, you will see that rhythms and patterns and the semantics of the music itself are repeated and redone many, many times over the years. Okay. With that in mind, let's back up 180 years, okay? And what I want to share with you at this point is that Friedrich Chopin, in composing his music, relied heavily on the major chord of D flat major. That is, as a matter of fact, my favorite chord. I don't know why it relates to me. It makes me feel good, it sounds beautiful, and so on. And he did many things in D flat major. Consider this one, for example. Beautiful little piece, lovely, the raindrop. Now, that was his prelude number 28, and it is a simple thing, and you can see how Chopin worked that D flat major. Now, others have done the same thing. For example, when Franz Liszt himself picks up the D flat major, you're going to find some synchronicity there that will be just beautiful. But I'll come back to that in just a moment. Listen to this particular one. This is the Nocturne number 8 by Chopin. This is Opus 27. It was composed, and this is important, in 1836 and 1837. Hold on to those dates, and I'll explain why in just a moment. Now, when Chopin wrote this piece, he used a specific motif, a structure. I call it a semantic. I teach semantics, and semantics to me is the manner in which we craft symbols, words, concepts, structures to develop meaning and to communicate meaning. And there is a semantics to music. So what he does is he starts out with his tonic, D flat major, a good, solid, beautiful tone, and then he proceeds with chords in D flat major, and he breaks them up. It's just a beautiful chord, but this is how he does it. To follow these three notes because they will be continuing throughout the whole piece. And this is how he starts it. Okay? Now it's important to remember that particular pattern. Franz Liszt picks it up. That's the point. And let's put it into context. Chopin's piece was written in the 1830s, and he died in 1849. Franz Liszt loved Chopin, or at least loved his music, and they knew each other. And he heard this piece, and it struck him, and it meant something to him, and he took it upon himself to recreate that motif, that semantic. Now remember that Franz Liszt also did a lot of music, composed a lot of music in D flat major. Beautiful, beautiful chord. For example, Un Sospiro. Sospiro means the sigh, and it is a beautiful, beautiful sigh. But Chopin died in 1849. And that so moved Franz Liszt that he composed this piece using Chopin's semantic, his structure, the motif of the nocturne. And before he completely finished it, and certainly before he published it, Liszt wrote a letter to Heinrich Steinway. Now this is an interesting, I'm playing on a Steinway piano, built in 1999. And Heinrich Steinway moved to the United States in 1850. And about that same time, 1849, Franz Liszt wrote him a letter and complimented him on Steinway's development of the sostenuto pedal, the pedal that holds. And this is what he told him. He said, "I shall gladly complete the whole composition with exact adaptation of your tone-sustaining pedal." And he was talking about this particular piece that Franz Liszt, in essence, borrowed from Friedrich Chopin. The piece itself is titled Consolation No. 3, and it's a gorgeous piece, and so I'd like to play that for you today. Consolation No. 3 by Franz Liszt.